Okay, so we're just going to fly through the questions 1 to 3 on page 324. So question 1A said, find the area in meters squared of a square size 1 meter. Okay, so it's literally a square like this, 1 meter and 1 meter. So we need to find the area in meters squared. Okay, so we are multiplying the length. Remember, area of a square, it's just the length by width or length by length because it's going to be the same measurements. Okay, but we can always use the formula length by width as long as we notice that the length and the width are the same thing. Okay, so it's going to be 1 meter times 1 meter. Okay, so we get 1 meter squared is our area there. Okay, now if you want, guys, you can take down this table for perimeter. So perimeter and area and how we change between the units. So if the edges are in meters, then our area is going to be in meters squared. If our perimeter is in centimeters, then our area is going to be in centimeters squared. Okay, if our perimeter is in kilometers, then our area is going to be kilometers squared. If it's in feet, then our area is feet squared. Okay, if it's in any unit, then the area is whatever that unit is squared. Okay, so that's question 1. Or sorry, part I. Okay, then part 2 says, find the area in centimeters squared of a square size 100 centimeters. Okay, so what do we notice about the square that sides are 100 centimeters versus the square that sides are 1 meter? Okay, what can we say about that? Well, the 100 centimeters, we know 100 centimeters is the same as a meter. So we're finding the area of this cube that's actually the exact same as the area of this cube, or sorry, not cube, of this square. That's the same area of this square. But we're going to figure out, okay, well, what's this 1 meter squared? How could we write 1 meter squared in terms of centimeters squared? Okay, so here, if we go to find the area, okay, and this is somewhere you have to pay a lot of attention, okay, because oftentimes people make the mistake to think, okay, well, there's 100 centimeters in a meter, so 1 meter squared is the same as 100 centimeters squared. That's not the case. Okay, so 100 centimeters squared isn't the answer here. Our answer here is to say 100 centimeters times 100 centimeters. Okay, so our actual answer here is going to be 10,000 centimeters squared. Okay, so you have to notice here that really we want to change the units before we start multiplying them, because it's difficult when we're looking at squared units to start changing between meters squared and centimeters squared. So if a question asks to give an answer in centimeters squared, if I were you guys, I'd change the lengths to centimeters before you start, because it is difficult to go from meters squared to centimeters squared. They're different rules we need to follow. Okay, so step or part 3 says complete the following sentence. Okay, so it says 1 meter squared is equal to how many centimeters squared? Well, the answer is, because these are the same square, so they should have the same area. So the answer there is 10,000 centimeters squared. Okay, so it's 100 squared centimeters squared. Okay, part B then says find the area in centimeters squared of a centimeter of a square side 1 centimeter. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So part B then, so if you didn't get that down, if you didn't get that, just pause and take it down. Okay, so part B, we are looking at a square that is 1 centimeter sides. Okay, so 1 centimeter and 1 centimeter. So what is the area in centimeters squared going to be for this? Okay, so again, guys, every time I want to see that you have that formula written out, either like this or area of a square is length squared. Okay, but if you learn this one, that means that you can also apply it to the rectangles. Okay, so it says find the area in centimeters squared of a square side 1 centimeter. So here we are going to be multiplying 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So we see the area is 1 centimeter squared. Okay, it's kind of like algebra in a way, because we have the number by number, so 1 times 1, and then centimeters by centimeters are centimeters squared. Okay, but don't worry about that. Just know that if we measure length in centimeters, then the area is going to be centimeters squared. Okay, and then it says, so this is similar to part A, because then it says, okay, well, here's a box, a square that has sides length 10 millimeters. So we know 10 millimeters is the same as 1 centimeter. So this is the same square as we had up here. Okay, and we're going to find what is the area of this. So we're just going to find what is the area of this square here in millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to be multiplying here 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters, so that I get 100 millimeters squared. Okay, so complete the following sentence. Okay, so these squares are the same, so they have the same area. So to complete the sentence that's in our book there, we say that 1 centimeter squared is the same as 100 millimeters squared. Okay? Okay, so question 2 then has, so page 324, question 2 gives us different squares. We need to find the area and the perimeter. Okay, so for question A, we just had a square that was 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters. Okay, they confirm it's a square because the sides are the same length and we have right angles. Okay, so 1, we're finding the area. So the area we know is length times width. So here it's going to be 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters. So we're going to get 25 centimeters squared. Okay, and then the perimeter is we have to measure how much distance would we have to walk if we were walking around the outside of this shape. So our square has 4 sides, so we have to walk this 5 centimeters 4 times. So we can just add 5 centimeters together 4 times. Okay, or we can recognize that when we add the same number together 4 times, it's the same as multiplying it by 4. Okay, so my total distance I have to walk around this square is 20 centimeters. Okay, so I think that these questions are familiar enough to you. So for part 2, we just tick off for me if you got the area. So it's 80 times 80, so that's 6,400. Okay, and it's meters, so my area is going to be meters squared, and the perimeter, so B, the perimeter is going to be 80 plus 80 plus 80 plus 80, 80 plus 80 plus 80 plus 80, yeah, 4 times. So 4 times 80 meters, or we can add 80 together 4 times. So we get 320 meters is my perimeter there. Okay. For part 3 then, my area there is going to be, so it's 3 kilometers times 3 kilometers, so I'm going to get 9 kilometers squared. And my perimeter, I have to walk the sides 3 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 3 kilometers, and 3 kilometers. So I'm going to have 12 kilometers to walk the whole way around the outsides. Okay, now part 4 is a little bit of a trick question because it gives us the sides with different units. So we always need to get the units, the sides in the same units before we start. So it had 7.5 centimeters and then it had 75 millimeters. Okay, so it's up to you what way you want to do it. If you want to measure it out in centimeters or in meters, but we either need to change this side to being millimeters or change this side to being centimeters. Okay, so let's do it where we change this side to being centimeters. So you can do it either way now, but let's just do it like this. So 7.5 centimeters is what 75 millimeters is. So when I do that, then I can find the area by saying, well, it's 7.5 by 7.5. So we get 56.25 centimeters squared, and my perimeter will be 7.5 centimeters multiplied by 4, so we'll get 30 centimeters. Okay, so tick those off if you got them right, guys, and then we can go on and look at the ones in question 3. So we're just flying through these. So question 3, part 1, I had a rectangle like this, and it said it has sides 2 centimeters and 9 centimeters. Okay, so we can tell then in rectangles opposite sides are the same lengths. So this side is also going to be 9 centimeters and this side over here is 2 centimeters. Okay, so to get my area here, it's length times width. So it's 2 centimeters times 9 centimeters. Okay, so my area of this rectangle is going to be 18 centimeters squared. And then what about the perimeter of this rectangle? Okay, so the perimeter is how I'd have to walk around the outside. So I can add my 9 centimeters plus 2 centimeters plus 9 centimeters plus 2 centimeters. Okay, now you might have noticed that you can just add 2 times one length and 2 times the width. That's perfect as well. Okay, so when we do that, then we're going to get that the perimeter is 22 centimeters. Okay, so that's that one. So for part 2 then, just to check our answers. So we'll get 12 times 4 as the area for the one in part 2. So it will be 48 meters squared. Okay, so the lengths were in meters, so the area is in meters squared. And then for the perimeter, so we have to add 12 plus 12 plus 4 plus 4, so that we get 32 meters. Okay, for part 3, we have a rectangle with 18 kilometers and 5 kilometers. So my area, I'm going to multiply 18 times 5 and I'm going to get 90. Okay, and my unit is kilometers squared because it's area. And then my perimeter, I can add 2 times 18 plus 2 times 5, and I get 46. So it would take 46 kilometers to walk around that rectangle. Okay, and my very last one then, so part 4. So part 4 here has a rectangle like this, and it has 1.3 kilometers on the top and 820 kilometers, or it's 820 meters there going around. Okay, or on the width. Okay, so we need to figure out what the area and the perimeter of this is. So again, we cannot mix up units. So we are going to either change this to being in kilometers or change this to being in meters. Okay, so I can change 1.3 kilometers to being in meters by multiplying it by 1,000. Okay, so we looked at that the last day. So to get 1.3 kilometers into meters, we multiply by 1,000. So that I'll get 1,300 meters. Okay, so once I've found that, then I can find my area by just multiplying them by each other. Okay, so 820 meters times 1,300 meters. Okay, so when we put that into our calculator, so 820 meters multiplied by 1,300 meters, okay, and we get a massive number. We get now, so we get 1,066,000 meters squared. Okay, and my perimeter, then we have to add up 820 times 2, or 820 plus 820, plus my 1,300 either by 2 or else just add it twice, so that we get a perimeter of 4,240 meters. Okay, so we tick them off if you got them right, please, guys. If you didn't get them right, take down the correct solutions for me. Thanks.